Children got into a school taxi on Monday morning and never came home. What happened next has shocked South Africa, and the charges that followed could change how justice is served forever. On Monday, the 19th of January 2026, it was a normal school morning along Fred Droste Road near Vanderbijlpark. Learners in uniform climbed into a minibus. Instead, within seconds, everything ended. According to early investigations, the minibus attempted to overtake another vehicle and collided head-on with an oncoming truck. The impact was devastating. 14 schoolchildren were killed instantly. Others were pulled from the wreckage with critical injuries and rushed to nearby hospitals. By the end of that day, families were waiting for children who would never walk through their doors again. At first, the case followed a familiar legal path. The driver, 22-year-old Ayanda Dludla, was arrested and initially charged with 14 counts of culpable homicide, a charge typically associated with negligence rather than intent. But as investigators dug deeper, the narrative began to shift. Prosecutors revealed that Dludla did not have a valid professional driving permit. His permit had expired months earlier, in November 2025. The minibus itself was not properly licensed to operate as scholar transport. And yet, despite knowing this, he was still behind the wheel, transporting children. That discovery changed everything. On Thursday, 22nd of January 2026, Dludla appeared in the Vanderbijlpark Magistrates Court, and the state escalated the charges dramatically. The 14 counts of culpable homicide were upgraded to 14 counts of murder, along with 3 counts of attempted murder. The state's argument is based on the legal principle of dolus eventualis. In simple terms, it means that even if someone did not intend to kill, they can still be charged with murder if they foresaw the possibility of death and chose to proceed anyway.
14 counts of murder, 3 counts of attempted murder, and 3 other charges of contravening trafficking act. Initially, this charge that was preferred when he was being arrested was culpable homicide. However, when the state perused the docket and saw the evidence that was inside the docket, we found that we had prima facie evidence to prefer the charge of murder against the accused instead of culpable homicide.
Prosecutors argue that driving without the proper qualifications, in an unlicensed vehicle, at dangerous speeds, while transporting children, amounts to a reckless disregard for human life.
Tell us about what you saw.
Well, what I saw is that the very same vehicle, that taxi, it tried to actually, it did overtake me and some other few cars. I think in front of me there were about, I think it was 4 cars. Now what happened, I tried to reduce my speed to...
His bail application was withdrawn, not because it was no longer needed, but because his legal team acknowledged that the seriousness of the charges meant the state would fiercely oppose his release. The magistrate postponed the case to March 5, 2026, giving investigators time to finalise reports and paving the way for the matter to be transferred to the High Court for a full murder trial.
Thank you, Mr. Dludla. Your matter is then postponed 5 March 2026. 5 March 2026, that would be then for further investigations. You are in custody.
Outside the courthouse, the atmosphere was heavy with grief. Parents, relatives, teachers, and community members gathered from early morning. When Dludla was escorted into court under police guard, shouts of anger erupted, alongside tears that refused to stop. This tragedy has reignited a national conversation about scholar transport safety in South Africa. In many communities, especially lower-income areas, families rely on informal or privately operated minibuses to get their children to school. Oversight is often weak. Permits expire. Vehicles go unchecked. Enforcement is inconsistent. Advocates argue this crash did not expose a single failure. It exposed a system that has been broken for years. In response, Gauteng education and transport officials have pledged stricter vehicle inspections, regular permit audits, and the creation of a provincial database of approved scholar transport operators. For many grieving families, those promises come far too late. Across the Vaal Triangle, memorial services and candlelight vigils continue. Schools have created remembrance walls and gardens. 14 desks, 14 futures, 14 lives lost on a road that should have led them safely to school. As Ayanda Dludla remains in custody, all eyes now turn to the 5th of March 2026. Prosecutors say this case is about more than one driver. It is about accountability and drawing a clear line between tragic accidents and criminal recklessness. For a nation in mourning, the question remains painfully simple. Will justice be enough to ensure that no child ever pays this price again just to get to school?